Most people over 65 who are dehydrated right now, today, as they watch this, do not feel thirsty at all. That is the entire problem, and that is exactly what we need to talk about. The hidden sign I want you to know about is not a dry mouth in the way you probably imagine it. It is something more specific, something you can check in the next 10 seconds, and it is this: a sticky swallow. Your saliva gets thick, almost stringy. And when you swallow, your tongue feels like it is slightly stuck to the roof of your mouth. You might notice you are clearing your throat more than usual, or that swallowing a bite of toast or a cracker feels like it takes a little extra effort, especially mid-morning or in the late afternoon. That sticky, tacky feeling is your body sending you a quiet, early warning signal that you are already behind on fluids, and most people either ignore it or chalk it up to aging or allergies or just one of those things. It is not just one of those things. It is one of the most reliable and earliest clues that dehydration is creeping in. And once you know what to look for, you will never miss it again. In just a moment, I am going to walk you through a 10-second check you can do with me right now, sitting right where you are, so you can feel exactly what I am describing. Then I am going to explain why your sense of thirst fades as you get older, and why that makes dehydration so sneaky after 65. And then, the part I think matters most, I am going to show you a simple timing change, not a big overhaul, just a small shift in when and how you take in fluids that most of my patients notice making a real difference within about a week. I also want to share why drinking a big glass of water all at once, which sounds like the obvious fix, can actually backfire and make the whole situation harder. So stay with me, because this is one of those topics where a little bit of practical knowledge can genuinely change how you feel on a daily basis. Before we go any further, drop a comment and tell me your age and where you are watching from today. I love reading those because it reminds me that real people in real living rooms are actually using this information. And that is what makes this worth doing. Let me paint a picture that might sound familiar, because I hear some version of this story almost every week in my practice. You wake up in the morning and your mouth feels cottony. Not painful, not alarming, just a little off. You have your coffee, maybe some toast, and for a while you feel fine. But somewhere around 10 or 10:30 in the morning, you notice your throat feels a little tight, or you are clearing it more than usual, or you take a sip of water and realize your mouth was stickier than you thought. Then the afternoon rolls around, and that is when things really shift. There is this fog that settles in, not confusion exactly, just a heaviness, like your thinking has slowed down half a step. Your eyes might feel dry or gritty. Maybe you get a mild headache across the front of your forehead, the kind that is not terrible but just sits there. Your legs might feel heavy when you stand up, or you feel a little chilled even though the room is not cold. Maybe your digestion has been sluggish, and you have been dealing with constipation that comes and goes without any obvious reason. You might feel lower energy after that morning coffee wears off, and you cannot quite explain why you just feel off. None of these things on their own sends you to a doctor. None of them makes you think, I must be dehydrated. And that is exactly the trap, because dehydration after 65 does not announce itself the way it did when you were 30 or 40. Back then, you got thirsty, you drank water, problem solved. Now, the signal has gotten quieter, and the symptoms have gotten sneakier, and they disguise themselves as fatigue, brain fog, stiffness, moodiness, or just the general feeling that your body is not cooperating the way it used to. Most people miss this detail entirely, and I do not want you to be one of them. So, let us do the check right now, together. This takes about 10 seconds, and you do not need anything except the mouth you already have. Here is what I want you to do. Swallow once, just a normal swallow, and pay attention to how it feels. Does your tongue peel away from the roof of your mouth easily and smoothly, or does it feel like it sticks just a little, like there is a thin layer of paste up there? Now run your tongue slowly along the inside of your cheeks and across the roof of your mouth. Does it glide or does it drag? If you can, part your lips slightly and notice your saliva. Is it thin and watery, the way it should be, or does it feel thicker, maybe even slightly ropey or stringy? If you notice stickiness, if swallowing felt effortful, if your tongue dragged instead of gliding, that is the sign. That is your body telling you quietly that your fluid levels have dipped below where they need to be. And I want to be clear about something. This is not a character flaw, and it is not something you did wrong. It is a normal consequence of changes that happen in the body as we age. And once you understand those changes, you can work with them instead of against them. I will get to the specific fixes in just a minute, including a tiny timing adjustment that is so simple most people wonder why they never thought of it. But I want you to understand the why behind this, because when you understand why it happens, the solutions make a lot more sense and they actually stick. Here is what is going on inside your body, explained as simply as I can. As you move past 60 and into your 60s and 70s and beyond, several things change at once. The part of your brain that monitors your hydration and triggers the sensation of thirst, it gets less sensitive. It is not broken, it just does not fire as loudly or as early as it used to. Think of it like a smoke detector with an aging battery. The detector still works, but by the time it goes off, there is already more smoke in the room than you would like. So you can be meaningfully low on fluids, and your brain simply does not send you the "I'm thirsty" message the way it once did. On top of that, your kidneys, which are brilliant organs that regulate how much water your body holds onto and how much it lets go, they become a little less efficient at concentrating urine and conserving water. That means you may lose more fluid through urination than a younger person would, even if you are drinking the same amount. Then layer on top of that the medications many people take after 65, things like blood pressure pills or water pills that are designed to help your heart and circulation but that also increase how much fluid you lose. Add in dry indoor air, especially in winter or in air-conditioned rooms in summer, and caffeine from coffee or tea, which can nudge your body to release fluid a little faster, and you start to see how the deck gets quietly stacked against you. And here is the part that most people never consider. A significant portion of your daily fluid intake when you were younger came from food. Soups, salads, fruits, vegetables, yogurt, all of those contribute water. But as appetite changes with age, or as people start eating smaller meals or simpler meals, that food-based water intake can drop without anyone noticing. So you have less thirst signaling, more fluid leaving, possibly less fluid coming in from food, and the result is this slow, invisible slide into mild dehydration that does not feel like dehydration. It feels like fatigue. It feels like brain fog. It feels like that sticky, effortful swallow you just checked for. If you are someone who takes diuretics or medications for your heart, kidneys, or blood sugar, it is worth mentioning this to your doctor or pharmacist at your next visit, just so they can help you find the right balance for your specific situation. That is the only medical caution I want to give you right now, and we will keep moving. Now, here is where I want to talk about what I call the water alone trap, because this is something that trips up a lot of well-meaning people. You hear that you should be drinking more water, so you pour yourself a big tall glass and you drink the whole thing at once. And what happens? Within 20 or 30 minutes you are in the bathroom. Then maybe you drink another big glass a couple of hours later and you are in the bathroom again. And now you are thinking, if I drink as much as they say I should, I am going to spend my whole day going back and forth to the bathroom. And honestly, I understand that frustration completely. For some people, especially those who already deal with urgency or who are nervous about not making it to the bathroom in time, the fear of drinking more water is a real barrier, and nobody talks about it enough. But here is what is actually happening when you chug a large amount of water all at once. Your body cannot absorb it efficiently that fast. A lot of it passes right through. Your kidneys flush it out, and you do not actually get the sustained hydration benefit you were hoping for. It is a little like pouring water on a very dry houseplant all at once. Most of it runs right through the pot and out the bottom. What the plant actually needs is a slow, steady soak. Your body works the same way. Small, consistent sips spread throughout the day are absorbed much more effectively than big gulps spaced far apart. And when you pair those sips with food, especially water-rich food like melon, cucumber, oranges, berries, soups, broths, yogurt, or even just a piece of lettuce with your sandwich, your body holds on to that fluid much better because the food slows the absorption and gives your system time to actually use it. Watch what happens when you try this approach for even a few days, because the difference in how you feel, particularly in the afternoon, can be surprisingly noticeable. And the bathroom issue? When you front-load your fluid intake earlier in the day and taper it gently as evening approaches, most people find that the nighttime trips decrease, not increase. I am not promising it will be perfect, but the timing shift alone can make a meaningful difference, and it is something you can start experimenting with today. So let me walk you through the timing change that I recommend to almost every patient over 65, because it is the single simplest adjustment that gets the most consistent results, and it does not require you to count glasses or carry a water bottle around like a gym bag. The concept is called front loading, and all it means is this. You drink more of your fluids in the earlier part of the day and ease off as the evening approaches. Here is how to make it practical without it feeling like a chore. You anchor your sips to things you already do every day, routines you do not have to think about. Let us try one right now. Think about your morning. After you brush your teeth, before you do anything else, you take 4 or 5 slow sips of water. Not a full glass, just a few easy sips. That is your morning anchor, and I want you to picture it in your mind right now. You put down the toothbrush, you pick up a small cup or glass that you have left right there by the sink, and you take a few calm sips. That is it. You have just started your hydration for the day before your feet even hit the kitchen floor. Now, throughout the morning, every time you get up to use the bathroom, before you sit back down, you swing by the kitchen and take a few more sips. You are not forcing down a big glass. You are just taking small, gentle sips anchored to a thing you are already doing. Before you sit down for a meal, a few more sips. With the meal, some broth-based soup, or a piece of fruit, or some vegetables that hold water. Mid-morning, maybe a cup of herbal tea or warm water, with a little lemon if that appeals to you. By lunchtime, using this approach, you have taken in a surprisingly good amount of fluid without ever once feeling like you were forcing yourself to drink. Then in the afternoon, you continue the same pattern at a gentler pace, and by late afternoon, you start to ease off, so your body is not processing a lot of fluid right before bed. This is not a rigid schedule. It is a rhythm, and the beautiful thing about anchoring it to routines you already have is that it becomes almost automatic within a few days. Your body starts expecting it, and you may even notice that your mouth feels less sticky by mid-morning once you have been doing this for 3 or 4 days. Most people tell me they feel a difference within a week, and the difference is not dramatic or earth-shattering. It is quieter than that. It is waking up with a little less cotton mouth. It is getting to 2 in the afternoon and realizing the fog did not settle in the way it usually does. It is noticing that your digestion is moving a little more smoothly. It is your eyes feeling less gritty. It is your legs feeling a little less heavy when you stand up. These small shifts add up, and they add up faster than you might expect. If you have been dealing with any kind of constipation or irregular digestion, this is one of the gentlest and most effective things you can do, because your colon needs adequate fluid to do its job, and when fluid is low, it pulls water from the stool to compensate. And that is when things get uncomfortable. I am not going to make this a whole digestive health talk, but I want you to connect those dots because it matters. Let me also say a quick word about electrolytes, because you may have heard that water alone is not enough and that you need electrolytes. There is some truth to that, especially if you have been sweating, if you have been ill, or if you just have not been eating much. Electrolytes are minerals like sodium and potassium that help your body actually hold on to and use the water you drink. Some people benefit from a small amount of electrolyte support, But if you have any heart, kidney, or blood pressure conditions, or if you take medications for those, please talk to your clinician before adding an electrolyte product, because the balance matters and it is different for everyone. For most people, eating regular meals that include fruits, vegetables, and some salt is enough to keep electrolytes in a reasonable range. And the sip and food strategy I just described naturally covers a lot of that ground. Now, I promised you a 2-minute afternoon reset, and I want to deliver on that because the afternoon is where dehydration does its most invisible damage. This is that window, usually between about 1 and 3 in the afternoon, where energy dips, focus fades, and most people assume they just need a nap or more coffee. And sometimes that is true, but very often what your body is actually asking for is fluid and a small change in position. So here is what I want you to try. And I want you to do a version of it with me right now if you can. Wherever you are sitting, place both feet flat on the floor. Take one slow breath in through your nose, hold it for just a second, and let it out slowly through your mouth. Now, if you are able to stand up gently, you do not have to stand if that is not comfortable for you, but if you can, just stand for a moment. Take another slow breath. Now walk slowly and gently to your kitchen or to the nearest window or just a few steps in any direction. While you are up, take 3 or 4 easy sips of water or whatever fluid you have available. Then stand by that window or in that kitchen for just a moment and look at something other than a screen. That is it. The whole thing takes less than 2 minutes, and what you have done is remarkable in its simplicity. You changed your posture, which shifts your blood pressure slightly and helps circulation. You took a couple of intentional breaths, which cues your nervous system to come out of that low-energy slump. You took in some fluid at the exact time of day when most people are running on empty. And you gave your brain a brief sensory reset by looking at something new. This is not exercise. This is not a workout. This is just a gentle 2-minute reset. And if you do it consistently in that early afternoon window, you may find that the fog lifts more easily and the rest of your afternoon feels lighter and more alert. Comment below and tell me if your afternoon crash hits before lunch or after lunch, because I am genuinely curious and it helps me understand what people are dealing with. Also, if the sticky swallow test surprised you, if you tried it earlier and noticed more stickiness than you expected, comment the word sticky, because I want to know how many of you are recognizing this for the first time. Let me give you a simple plan for the next 7 days. Not a rigid protocol, just a gentle structure you can try on and see how it fits. On the morning of day 1, your only job is awareness. Do the sticky swallow check when you wake up, before you have had anything to drink. Just notice, is your tongue sticking? Is swallowing effortful? How does your saliva feel? Then do your morning anchor, those few sips right after brushing your teeth. Throughout the day, try to take a few sips every time you get up from a chair, every time you use the bathroom, every time you walk past the kitchen. Do the sticky swallow check again in the mid-afternoon, around 2 or 3 o'clock, and notice if it feels different from the morning. That is day 1. For the next 2 or 3 days, keep doing the same thing and start adding in a little more fluid from food. Have a bowl of soup with lunch. Snack on some watermelon or an orange or a few cucumber slices. Put some berries in your yogurt. You are not overhauling your diet. You are just leaning a little more toward foods that carry water with them. Keep doing your morning anchor and your sip with routine pattern. Try the 2-minute afternoon reset at least once. By about day 4 or 5, do the sticky swallow check again and compare it to how day 1 felt. Many people notice by this point that the stickiness has decreased, that swallowing feels smoother, that their mouth feels more comfortable. Pay attention to your energy in the afternoon. Has the fog lifted even a little? Notice your digestion. Is anything moving more comfortably? Notice your eyes, your skin on the backs of your hands, any headaches that might have been hanging around. By the end of the week, you are not trying to hit a magic number of glasses or ounces. You are just trying to notice whether this rhythm of front-loaded, routine-anchored, food-paired hydration has made you feel even a little bit better. And for most people, it does. It is not a cure for everything, and I would never claim that, but mild chronic dehydration is so common after 65, and it mimics so many other problems, that simply correcting it can make other things in your day feel easier and smoother. It is one of those foundational things, like sleep, that quietly affects everything else. I want to close with this, because I think it matters. You are not lazy for not drinking enough water. You are not careless. You are living in a body that has changed the way it communicates with you about what it needs, and nobody sat you down and explained that. The thirst signal got quieter, and nobody told you to listen for a different signal instead. Now you know what that signal is. It is the sticky swallow, the thick saliva, the tongue that drags instead of glides, the throat clearing that happens for no obvious reason. It is your body whispering instead of shouting, and all I am asking you to do is start listening for the whisper. Try the swallow check today, right now if you have not already. Pick one timing change, just one. Whether it is the morning anchor at the sink or the sip after every bathroom trip habit, and try it for a week. Notice what shifts. And if you found this helpful, if this gave you something you can actually use, I would be grateful if you hit the like button and subscribe, because it helps this information reach more people who are dealing with the same low energy and afternoon fog and just do not know why. And they deserve to hear this too. If any of your symptoms are sudden, severe, or getting worse over time, please bring it up with your doctor or clinician, because you deserve to have someone look at your specific situation and make sure nothing else is going on. But for the quiet, low-grade, slow-creeping kind of dehydration that just makes every day feel a little harder than it needs to, you now have a way to spot it and a way to start fixing it, and it does not require anything complicated or expensive or extreme. Just a few sips, a little timing, a bit of food that holds water, and the willingness to pay attention to what your body is quietly telling you. Try it, see what happens, and come back and tell me about it in the comments.